After Adrian postponed our wedding for the 10th time, I prepared to let go. For my friend's second child's full-month celebration, I offered congratulations in advance. When my close friend invited me for a spring outing and camping, as soon as he arrived, I turned and left. When the company assigned me to his company to follow up on a project, I decisively resigned. Even when his parents came to plead on his behalf, I refused to see them. I deleted all photos related to him and blocked and removed all contact methods. I canceled the social media account that recorded our daily love life, completely severing all connections associated with him. Having known each other for 25 years and been in love for 5, I always thought we were each other's only one. Until the 10 wedding preparations were all postponed, I suddenly realized, loving others is not as important as loving oneself first. Evelyn, wait for me a moment, I'm already on my way and will arrive soon. Adrian hung up the phone without waiting for me to speak. I awkwardly looked at the hotel staff. My boyfriend will be here soon, could you give me a bit more time? Once he arrives, we can quickly go through the wedding rehearsal process. The staff gave me a professional smile and said apologetically, I'm sorry, ma'am, the hall you rented has already exceeded the time by 10 minutes. The next couple is waiting for their wedding rehearsal, I'm truly sorry. My gaze went past him to the couple behind, meeting their impatient expressions, after which I awkwardly smiled and apologized, it's my fault, I'll pack up and leave immediately. The wedding company's staff followed me out of the hotel. Ms. Evelyn, just like the previous 9 times, although the wedding rehearsal didn't happen, our company's deposit is non-refundable. I smiled bitterly, it's okay, it's me who wasted your time. This wedding company is the most famous in Jinghai, with a very tight schedule. I paid double the deposit to have them accompany me for the wedding rehearsals time after time. No problem, Ms. Evelyn is now a major client of our company. Next time you need a rehearsal, just call me directly. This sentence made me feel deeply ashamed, and I quickened my pace to leave. This was already the 10th time Adrian missed our wedding rehearsal. The previous 9 times, he would always coax me to postpone the wedding after missing the rehearsal, using the excuse that the company had urgent matters requiring a temporary business trip. Although the invitations had been sent out 9 times, I still complied each time. But this time I really wanted to know what excuse he had. I leaned against the birch tree across from the hotel, waiting from dawn until dusk when he finally arrived leisurely. Today, the company suddenly added a meeting. I rushed over by speeding right after it ended. Is there still time for the rehearsal now? His incoherent words were full of loopholes. I lowered my eyes to glance at his casual attire and smiled silently. It's too late. Adrian's steps dragging me toward the hotel suddenly halted, and he said to me with a face full of apology, it's all because I made the company too big. As the president, I can't just abandon work. Rehearsing next time will be the same. I quietly watched him, waiting for his next words. Sure enough, the next second, Adrian said with a troubled expression, but I have to go on a business trip to Europe next week, let's postpone our wedding first. Noticing the hurt in my eyes, Adrian coaxed softly, don't be sad, the next wedding will definitely be on time. I'll find a master to pick a good auspicious day for us. Come with me now, I've ordered a new wedding dress for you for the next wedding. You'll look beautiful in it. Every time he postponed the wedding, he would give me an expensive custom wedding dress. The first 10 had already filled the home wardrobe, I didn't want this 11th one anymore. I took out my phone, opened the wedding dress order, and showed it to him. Celine's dress is also ready, remember to remind her to pick it up. Adrian's face changed slightly, but he reacted quickly, the company anniversary is coming soon, Secretary Celine has worked hard, so I thought of giving her a set too. I nodded and opened the dinner Facebook post he made an hour ago, which he forgot to block me from. And this? Adrian, do you have anything to explain to me? Anger instantly appeared on his face. Evelyn, are you suspecting me of cheating? I did lie to you about not coming to the rehearsal, but that was to entertain clients for dinner. Who is like you, idle every day, just forcing me to rehearse, forcing me to hold the wedding? Please, if I take a day off, I lose millions, I'm very busy. Adrian left me speechless. I couldn't help but laugh. We grew up as childhood sweethearts. Who doesn't have a company in their family? If it weren't for you saying that taking over Chi Corporation would delay our relationship, would I casually find a small company to work as an employee? Adrian's face turned pale and then red from my words. Fine, it's me who delayed your inheritance of the family business. In that case, let's part ways. With a smile in my eyes, I walked in the opposite direction from him, though my heart was already bleeding profusely. My phone buzzed in my hand, and I opened Celine's message, which popped up instantly. I'm really sorry, Ms. Evelyn, because I wanted to check out stores. Adrian was late for your wedding rehearsal. Next time, I'll definitely choose a good day to avoid your 11th wedding rehearsal. This message was like a dart, piercing my heart fiercely, giving me an indescribable feeling of suffocation. Dating the secretary, yet Adrian claimed it was entertaining clients for dinner. How utterly ridiculous. Adrian and I were childhood sweethearts, and our parents were old acquaintances. From a young age, the adults from both families joked, "You two are the same age, childhood sweethearts, and stick together every day. Why not just get married when you grow up?" At that time, being young, I didn't know what marriage was. I only knew that getting the certificate meant Adrian would always stay by my side and play games with me. So, I clapped happily. Yes, I want to marry Adrian. I even imitated TV shows and wrote him a guarantee, saying I would definitely marry him when I grew up. As a result, after growing up and understanding the meaning of marriage, my parents always teased me about that guarantee. In my youth, with thin skin, I got annoyed and embarrassed from the teasing and started intentionally avoiding Adrian. When he noticed, he cornered me and cried bitterly, questioning where he had offended me and why I was giving him the cold shoulder. That cry melted my heart, giving me the feeling of budding romance. From that day on, I realized I had fallen in love with him. In the year we both turned 20, we pierced the veil of friendship and started dating. In the following years, after I successfully proposed, the 10 wedding preparations were all postponed by him. By then, he had a capable assistant named Celine by his side. The time they spent together day and night far exceeded mine. I had been deceiving myself that their interactions were just for work. But today, I was unwilling to deceive myself anymore. The constantly vibrating phone interrupted my thoughts. I composed myself and answered, "Hello, Vivian, what's up?" "Good news, my second baby's full-month banquet is this Saturday. Bring your fiancé over for dinner." I originally wanted to say I'd go alone, but suddenly remembered that Vivian and I are best friends, but her husband Nathan and Adrian are brothers. Has Nathan told Adrian? The two are talking right now. Why, aren't you and Adrian together? After the rehearsal, you went straight home separately? Such a good opportunity for intimacy, and you're willing to miss it? Vivian's tone was puzzled. I smiled bitterly. Everyone knows I'm Adrian's devoted follower, so they naturally think that way. I vaguely agreed, said I'd go, and hung up. To celebrate tonight, I asked a friend to order a bottle of out-of-print red wine. At the winery, I took out the wine and drank the whole bottle alone. The surveillance on my phone was recording in real time. Adrian had hired a moving company and was moving his luggage. Perhaps realizing I was watching him, he said to the camera, "What, spying on me because you're afraid I'll steal your things?" I smiled and connected the voice. "You misunderstood. I just want to remind you to take the dresses you gave me in the bedroom as well." Adrian gritted his teeth in anger. I turned off the video and answered Vivian's call. Before I could speak, she asked coldly, "Did Adrian postpone the wedding again?" "He didn't go to today's rehearsal, right?" Seeing my silence, she got more excited. "You've been wronged and don't know how to fight back." "Wait, I'll go give Celine a piece of my mind right now." "It's not that I don't know how to fight back, I've completely given up on him and don't want to entangle with him anymore." After my repeated persuasions and assurances, Vivian finally calmed down. "It's good that you and Adrian broke up. I've long seen that his heart isn't with you, but because our relationships are too close, it was hard for me to say it outright." I laughed helplessly. "Just don't let our matter affect your relationship with Nathan." "That's impossible, my husband and I are inseparable." After hanging up, I unsteadily returned home. Looking at the empty house, the stone blocking my heart finally fell. After inspecting around, I threw out the photo album and cologne he left behind through the window, then collapsed on the bed and slept soundly. To avoid attending the full-month banquet with Adrian, I took leave on Friday and went to Vivian's house. Vivian opened the door and gestured for me to be quiet, pulling me to her small garden. Adrian was playing with toys to amuse the child while chatting with Nathan. This time, I've moved all my things out. I don't believe that scaring Evelyn like this, she would still dare to yell at me. She doesn't weigh her own worth, she's really going against the heavens. Over these years, I've always been submissive, indulging Adrian's young master temper. I didn't expect to give him the illusion that I'm naturally weak. Vivian frowned tightly, looking angrier than me. I patted her shoulder and smiled speechlessly. Adrian's phone interrupted their conversation. He answered with a smile, nodded to Nathan, and ran toward the villa gate. Vivian and I quickly hid. After he left, I followed. Celine, didn't I say I gave you the day off today? Why aren't you resting well? Celine threw herself into his arms without regard for others. I miss you, thinking about how you postponed the wedding with Evelyn time after time for me. I feel itchy and unbearable, wishing to see you every moment. Adrian scraped her nose. Isn't this your idea? How can you be so mischievous? Hearing this, my blood rushed backward. Although I had already guessed the situation, hearing it directly from the two parties involved still pained my heart. Celine pinched his cheek. Even if I'm so mischievous, you still like me. Besides, initially, you told me you didn't want to marry her, so I came up with this idea, and you nodded in agreement. An ambiguous atmosphere flowed between the two. If not at Vivian's front door, I think they would have wanted to engage in adult activities immediately. Vivian didn't rush out because I held her back tightly. After the engine started and the car drove away, she scolded me in frustration. Why endure this humiliation? Just confront her directly. I shook my head, pale-faced. No need, it's better to cut ties. The next day, Saturday, I didn't attend. Near lunchtime, Adrian called me. Evelyn, is this how you act as a friend? Not coming to someone's joyous occasion, how tasteless. I knew he was deliberately trying to upset me, so I didn't respond. After waiting a bit, he said again, I forgot to take a bottle of limited edition cologne. Don't think of keeping it secretly to reminisce, send it to me immediately. Thrown away. I hung up proactively. I thought he would be angry, but the next second, I received his message, playing hard to get with me, huh? How ridiculous. If thrown, then thrown, I don't want it. Don't come looking for me again. On Saturday night, to thank everyone for attending the second child's full-month banquet, Celine proposed inviting everyone for a spring outing on Sunday. In the group chat, everyone responded enthusiastically. I was about to decline when I saw Adrian say he had something on Sunday and couldn't go. Only then did I agree to participate. The next day was sunny and bright. I wore sunglasses and barbecued skewers by the stream. A few brothers close to Adrian came over with disdainful expressions, subtly asking me. Valentine's Day is coming soon. Has Miss Evelyn prepared another expensive gift for our Adrian? What is it? Show it to us first so we can appraise it. They didn't know that Adrian and I had already broken up. They still thought I was the devoted follower from before, teasing me casually. I ignored them and deliberately fanned the charcoal fire stronger. They were choked by the smoke and ran away cursing. The meat skewers were almost done. I was about to sprinkle cumin and take them to the table when I suddenly remembered that I was done with Adrian. Why care about his taste anymore? I went back and sprinkled a large handful of chili. Just as I placed the skewers on the table, I saw Adrian coming this way. I took off my apron and turned to leave. At the same time, behind me, friends chatted with him. You're late, punish yourself with a drink. Oh, forgot you don't drink beer, let Evelyn come and drink for you. As they said that, the friend shouted at me from behind. Without turning back, I said directly, I don't have the habit of drinking for outsiders. Adrian's hand receiving the cup froze in midair. He narrowed his eyes, staring darkly at my departing figure. On Monday, I took a day of annual leave and went to the company on Tuesday. Just after facial recognition check-in, the boss patted my shoulder and took me to the office. I stood in front of his desk, watching him smile and paint big pictures for me. Goosebumps rose on my skin. I didn't know what bad idea the skinflint had this week, but it definitely wasn't good. Sure enough, his next words confirmed my thoughts. I don't know where he heard that my boyfriend is Adrian. He insisted on giving me an opportunity for business romance, assigning me to his company to follow up on a project. It sounds nice, but what cooperation project does this lousy company have with Sioux Corporation? Sioux Corporation is a top-tier wealthy family in Jinghai. Why would they look at a small enterprise like my company? The reason for saying that was just to have me use my connections to pull a project for him. I refused, but the boss was persistent, continuously trying to brainwash me. Just as I was about to retort, Adrian's call came to him. The boss nodded and bowed while answering, then told me, Adrian said there's a small project to cooperate with our company and specifically named you to handle it. I sneered coldly, took off my badge, and slammed it on his desk. I'm quitting. I turned off my phone and went out of the province to relax. I only turned it on a week later. As a result, the massive number of messages almost crashed my phone. A rough look showed they were all from Adrian. Opening the latest one, Evelyn, I admit defeat, okay? Turn on your phone and call me back. I selected batch delete. The next second, his call came in. Evelyn, you finally turned it on. Do you know I've been going crazy looking for you these days? Where are you now? Send me your address immediately. I hung up and blocked him, then cleared and deleted everything related to him on my phone. I canceled the social media account that recorded our daily love life. Finally, fearing any omissions, I simply reset the phone. Looking at the clean phone screen after turning it on, my heart finally felt at peace. I booked a 1 p.m. flight ticket and boarded the flight back to Zhuhai. After landing, before finding Vivian who came to pick me up, I heard someone arguing nearby. The voice sounded like Adrian. I squeezed through the crowd to look. It was indeed him. He was pulling Vivian and questioning, Evelyn must have contacted you, tell me where she went. Vivian impatiently replied, I really don't know, Evelyn hasn't contacted me. Impossible. I'm her boyfriend, do you really think I'm as easy to fool as others? Standing in the crowd, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Adrian is really shameless. In 5 years together, he never had the awareness of being my boyfriend. Now that things have escalated like this, he still has the nerve to call himself my boyfriend. I've seen shameless people, but not this shameless. If you don't believe me, you can call her to confirm. Adrian's face turned red from her retort. I had already blocked his contact methods, he couldn't reach me at all. Grabbing Vivian's phone, he forcefully ordered her to unlock it, then found my number and dialed. I had long turned on silent mode. At that moment, the phone was vibrating continuously in my pocket. I watched Adrian go from furious to teary-eyed, then powerlessly drop his hand. After making eye contact with Vivian, I turned and walked out of the crowd. With a cigarette in my mouth, I waited for her in the corner for a long time before Vivian escaped and came over. I removed the cigarette and walked to her car. She called out to me and got out of the car to come over. What? Before I finished asking, Vivian clicked and lit the cigarette in my hand. We've broken up, no need to stick to those rigid rules anymore, right? I nodded, took a puff, and exhaled a smoke ring. What about you? Want one? Vivian stepped back, raised her hand to refuse. I have a husband and children, I have to follow the rules. I rolled my eyes speechlessly. Vivian came to my side and leaned against the wall with me. What spell did you cast on Adrian, or has he changed? These days, he's been frantically looking for you, coming to my house 3 or 5 times, and today he even followed me to the airport. I shook my head. I don't know, maybe suddenly losing a devoted follower gave him a sense of loss. Don't tell anyone about my news, including your husband. Don't worry, after Nathan learned about Adrian's shameless deeds, he plans to break ties with him. On the way back to the hotel, Vivian still asked worriedly, you won't soften and reconcile because he regrets and apologizes to you, right? I sneered, Do I look like a fool? My head is so green it's glowing, why would I rush to forgive him? Vivian was relieved now and floored the accelerator to drop me at the hotel. I specifically chose a hotel that wasn't part of any chain. I was afraid of Adrian launching another surprise attack. Sure enough, as I guessed, Adrian learned from the airport that I was back and started searching all over Jinghai for me. He asked all friends who owned chain hotels, but still couldn't find me. Finally, I don't know who gave him the idea, but he found a hacker to hack my phone and locate me. By the time I realized, he had already blocked me in the room, and I couldn't get out. He banged on the door outside my room and shouted, "Evelyn, I know you're inside, what skill is hiding from me? If you have something to say, come out and talk face to face." Through the peephole, I saw Adrian's ferocious face and also saw the neighbors coming out to watch the commotion. How embarrassing. I frowned impatiently, picked up the phone, and called the front desk. The hotel staff came up to persuade him, "Sir, you have seriously disturbed our guest's rest, please leave immediately." Perhaps the staff's words pulled him back from his excitement. Or maybe seeing so many people watching the spectacle, he couldn't save face. So, just as I was thinking of calling the police to drive him away, Adrian suddenly stopped banging and said to the peephole, "Evelyn, I'm giving you one last chance, I'll wait for you at home at 6 tonight. If you don't come, don't blame me for not considering our childhood friendship." I watched Adrian take the elevator downstairs. I waited a few more minutes in the room, seeing he really had no intention of returning, and contacted the front desk to confirm he had left. Only then did I open the door and leave through the hotel's back door. But just as I came out the back door, I saw Adrian's car drive by. As he turned his head to look, I quickly dodged back. I don't know if he spotted me, my heart pounded in my chest. Only when I saw his car drive away in my peripheral vision did I let out a long sigh of relief. Helplessly, Vivian let me stay temporarily in her undecorated villa and couldn't help teasing me. "Other childhood sweethearts are in perfect harmony, but you, good grief, because you're too familiar as childhood sweethearts, you can't go back to any home." Indeed, I was helpless too. I have quite a few properties in Jinghai, but Adrian knows every one. According to his personality, he must have people staking out each house. I don't plan to walk into the trap. Vivian took my phone, gave me a new one, and also gave me a black card. Only then did I feel at ease going online. After reporting to Nathan, Vivian stayed in the villa to drink and chat with me. But just after 6 in the evening, her phone was bombarded. Vivian opened the message from her husband among the many, "Adrian is causing trouble at our house again, you two must hide well." After an hour, the alert was lifted. Nathan called, "Evelyn, Adrian is really anxious this time, he said if he can't find you, he'll go cause trouble at your house." This is something Adrian would do. I'd said irritably. Vivian advised, "Isn't Uncle Leonard on a business trip in Europe? Just buy a ticket for your mom and make an excuse for her to travel to Europe to find your dad." She knew my family and the Sue family are close, so I was still dragging my feet, not wanting my parents to know we had broken up. Nathan also agreed, "This is a way, first let Aunt Margaret hide out, and discuss the rest later." I immediately responded, "Okay, let's do that." I used Vivian's credit card to buy a ticket for my mom and asked our family driver to take her directly to the airport. Only at the last moment before check-in did my mom circuitously contact me through Nathan. "Evelyn, what exactly happened? Don't make mom worry." I didn't know how to say it, so I lied that there was a jewelry auction in Europe. My mom doesn't like bags or fancy clothes, just jewelry. Sure enough, she was delighted and praised me for being filial and sensible. I sighed, this was muddled through. As expected, after frantically failing to find me, Adrian went to my house. Through our family servants, I heard that on the day he went, he didn't state his purpose, just said he hadn't seen Uncle Sue and Aunt Sue for a long time and wanted to catch up. I knew that although Adrian was crazy, he still didn't dare to make a big fuss in front of my parents. After all, he was the one who cheated. If things blew up, he would be the sinner. After causing trouble for a few more days, Adrian finally quieted down. Just when I thought his madness had passed, he ran to Vivian's house again, snot and tears, asking the couple to pass a message to me. I really know I was wrong. Evelyn has the best relationship with you. You helped her hide from me. I won't hold it against you. Please help me plead. Let her stop being angry with me. I will never hurt her heart again. When he said this, I was listening on the second floor of Vivian's house. Seeing Adrian's pale face and disheveled hair, I almost couldn't hold back from laughing out loud. The two Vivians didn't want to help but didn't know how to refuse. Just as they were, crying came from the nursery. Both sighed in relief and got up to see the guest out. Through these days, Adrian also saw that these two weren't keen on dealing with him. He didn't say more, drooped his face, and left dejectedly. That night, it rained heavily. Unable to find me, Adrian sat outside the Western restaurant where we got engaged all night. It was only when the staff came to work the next day that they discovered him, who had fainted unknown how long ago. The staff recognized him, quickly sent him to the hospital, and through fingerprint unlock found Vivian in the recent calls. I was sitting next to Vivian at the time, listening to the staff babble a lot. I just remembered him saying Adrian had a high fever and was unconscious, had entered the operating room. He paid the medical fees in advance, and said that after Adrian was pushed back to the ward, he kept muttering Evelyn. Evelyn. I couldn't hold back and laughed out loud. He really thinks he's a romantic saint? Ridiculous. After commenting, I got up and took a bottle of iced cola. Vivian asked for the staff's account and transferred $10,000 to him. The staff was surprised. No need for so much. I only advanced $5,000. The rest is your hard work fee. Thank you for saving my friend. After hanging up, Vivian waved her phone at me. Including the air ticket, you owe me tens of thousands. Consider it interest. After Vivian took my phone that day, she directly threw it in the trash. All accounts were bound to the original number. Originally, fearing Adrian would track my location again, I hadn't reissued it. Now, with social payments so inconvenient, I was a bit annoyed. I planned to go clarify things once he woke up. But before I set off to the hospital, I received my mom's call. What exactly is going on with you and Adrian? I came to the auction today and happened to meet your friends. They said you two are breaking up and asked me to persuade you. My heart skipped a beat. After hesitating for a while, I asked, if I break up with Adrian, you and Aunt Helena. My mom interjected, we are we, you are you, no conflict. My heart settled, and I confessed, we have indeed broken up. My mom was silent for a long time, starting to ask something several times. But finally it turned into one sentence, you young people handle your own matters. Just one thing, if I find out you did something sorry to Adrian that led to this, I won't forgive you. Adrian has always been a good boy in front of my parents. Because of this stereotype, whenever we had friction, my parents always thought it was something I didn't do well. Don't worry, enjoy your vacation. After hanging up, I dragged Vivian to the pool hall. Vivian knew I was in a good mood after getting my mom's affirmative answer and wanted to relax. She first dragged me to reissue the old number, then went to the pool hall. But today might have been unlucky to go out. Just after playing one game, I ran into Celine wearing waitress clothes coming to work. Yo, isn't this Secretary Celine? Haven't seen you for half a month, how did you become so down and out? She gritted her teeth and walked toward me. Evelyn, don't be smug. Adrian is just temporarily confused by your playing hard to get. When he wakes up, the one by his side will still be me. Well, wish you success? I threw the cue along the table, took out 200 yuan bills, and stuffed them into her chest pocket. Patted her shoulder, good luck. Adrian woke up the next afternoon, looking at the white room, his heart felt empty. Wiping away tears, he habitually called me. But this time it connected. Adrian's breath hitched, somewhat unbelieving. He asked softly, Evelyn, is it really you? I was leaning outside his ward door and calmly hummed in response. Hearing my voice, Adrian instantly broke down and cried, I'm sick, Evelyn, come accompany me, okay? I didn't speak. He cried even harder, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Don't be angry with me anymore, okay? Through the small ward window, I saw him hugging himself. shoulders shaking nonstop. I thought that in the past, seeing him sad and upset, I would have hated myself to death. But now, after hesitating for a long time, I still didn't want to go in. Adrian is not calm now. I'm afraid once I enter, I won't be able to leave. Seeing I didn't speak, he started playing the emotional card. We're childhood sweethearts, didn't you promise to marry me? Come pick me up, let's go get the certificate immediately, okay? No more rehearsals, no wedding, let's get married tonight, please. Having been played by Adrian 10 times, I no longer believed his words. But even if he was sincere this time, I didn't plan to forgive him again. Adrian, if there were regret pills in this world, I would do everything to get and eat one, just because I don't want any relation with you anymore. Evelyn, how can you say that? Have you forgotten how much we loved each other? Have you forgotten how much you wanted me to marry you? I agree now, you can't treat me like this. I won't soften again, nor do I want to entangle anymore. Frankly, Adrian, I can't be with you anymore, let's end here. If you don't want our parents to be unhappy because of us, just let it be. The moment I turned to leave, I heard the sound of him flipping off the bed. I dodged into the adjacent ward. Soon, I saw him rush out, brushing past me. He cried heartbrokenly, attracting many gazes. I just felt extremely embarrassed. After reissuing the phone number, I kept receiving harassing calls from Adrian. Vivian accompanied me drinking, somewhat hesitant to speak. Say what's on your mind. I knew she wanted to speak for Adrian, although I didn't want to hear it, I still wanted to know what she had to say. Aunt Helena contacted me yesterday, indirectly asking what exactly happened between you and Adrian. I saw the elder was really worried, and couldn't bear it, so I told the truth. I downed the red wine in the glass, lifted my eyes to glance at her. You want me to go see, so Aunt Helena doesn't have an accident from worry. But before I could speak, Aunt Helena's call came in. Vivian knew our two families are close and that I didn't want to answer, so she said, answer it, clarify with the elder. I thought it was good too, can't always hide from people to live. But as soon as the call connected, Aunt Helena's crying came through. Evelyn, Aunt Helena knows about you and Adrian, all faults are Adrian's, even if Aunt Helena begs you, for the sake of being childhood sweethearts, come to the Sue house and talk properly with Adrian, okay? Aunt Helena is the person who treats me best besides my mom. I remember in childhood, because I was too naughty, I ruined all my mom's lipsticks. My mom angrily picked up the feather duster to beat me. If not for Aunt Helena saving me and giving my mom a few co-branded lipsticks, I definitely couldn't escape that beating. But upon thinking of what Adrian had done to me, I said, Aunt Helena, it's not that I don't want to see him, it's that the person in his heart is his little assistant Celine, you'd better find her to go over. Then, using the excuse of having something, I hung up. In the following days, my mom returned. She had long known the real reason for our breakup and kept passing me Adrian's status these days. Either throwing tantrums by hunger strike or crying and saying he was wrong. He came to my house several times, my mom always muddled through vaguely. When she couldn't, she said young people's matters, she really couldn't manage. I listened and gave a thumbs up. No one from the Sue family dared contact me anymore. Probably all feeling Adrian's actions were a bit dishonorable. But Adrian hadn't given up, keep sending me apology essays. I forwarded those essays to Celine without missing one. Sure enough, after seeing them, she couldn't sit still and went to the Sue house. After hearing the news, I also hurried back to the old house to watch the excitement. Celine, who let you come here? Don't you know your own status? Adrian opened the door a crack and said viciously to Celine. Celine had never suffered this from him, her eyes reddened instantly. Adrian, what are you saying? Didn't you say the person you love most is me? Why are you treating me like this now? Joke. Hearing this, Adrian loudly refuted, pushed open the door, shoved Celine to a shady spot, and warned, I've become like this today because of you. If you don't want to be blacklisted in Jinghai, get lost quickly. Heh, you played so wildly with me back then, now pretending to be a gentleman? You think Evelyn doesn't know about the good things you and I did? I tell you, she knew long ago. The reason she ignores you is that she finds you disgusting. you bastard. The two fought fiercely, attracting many neighbors to watch. Before everyone saw me, I turned and ran. After my dad returned from his business trip, he also learned about this ill-fated relationship. With one decision, he exiled me to the European branch. Not doing proper work all day, and getting involved in such a troublesome matter, hurry to Europe to gain experience, don't come back until you've made something of yourself. My mom also agreed. I was decisively sent to Europe. For half a year, I cut off contact with the outside world, focusing on overcoming career challenges. Finally, I achieved some success. At the end of the year, my dad flew to Europe specifically to pick me up home for the new year. But as soon as we walked in the door, we heard sobbing in the living room. I recognized it as Adrian's. My scalp instantly tingled, wanting to turn and leave, but he spotted and stopped me. Looking in the living room, Adrian's parents were visiting my house. "Evelyn, are you avoiding me? It's been over half a year, are you still angry with me? I really know I was wrong." Aunt Helena came over, held me, and earnestly said, "Evelyn, it's been half a year, can you reconsider you and Adrian's matter?" Uncle Richard quickly followed, "Yes, Evelyn, the past matters were because this kid Adrian was immature. As childhood sweethearts, you should be mutually tolerant, right?" I pursed my lips standing among everyone, shook off Adrian. "Uncle, Aunt, I can help you take care of Adrian, but I'm not a fool, nor a sucker. Put yourself in my shoes, if I were your biological daughter and he cheated, would you still let me give him another chance?" My words silenced the room. Adrian looked at me in disbelief, finally crying and collapsing to the ground. Uncle Richard felt some pity but still said in frustration, "It's all your own doing, your mom and I have already lost face for you, we've done our utmost. Leave quickly, don't embarrass me anymore." Adrian was dragged away by Aunt Helena, looking back every 3 steps. My parents sat on the sofa quietly watching, without any comments. Until only our family of 3 was left in the living room, my mom said, "Leonard, didn't you say you wanted to move the company to Europe?" "I agree, we'll move after the new year." My mom is the most nostalgic, but now seeing the Sue family constantly harassing me, she was a bit speechless. That's why she proactively mentioned moving. After deciding, our whole family began intensive preparations. During this time, I ran into Adrian again. His eyes were swollen from crying, looking like a goldfish. Seeing I ignored him, he said desperately, "Evelyn, I won't come find you anymore, please don't leave, okay?" I turned a deaf ear and turned to leave. After the new year, our whole family moved to Europe. In the many years that followed, I kept hearing from Vivian that Adrian's most common daily activity was staring at my photos in a daze. So what, belated affection is cheaper than grass.